The interpretation of narratives is to some extent subjective, because everyone can experience art differently. At the same time, using literary analysis, we can still explain the most reasonable meanings that the artist meant to convey or that the audience is likely to understand. To understand themes of any work of art, however, spoilers are involved. Heavy spoilers. So consider this your spoiler warning. Clair, Obscur, Expedition 33, the Souls-like JRPG by Sandfall Interactive, is a fantastic video game and contains one of the most tragic yet beautiful narratives I have ever experienced in the video game medium. The game contains an abundance of themes, so many that it took several days for me to figure out what I wanted to highlight. In the first video, part 1, we explored themes related to death and how to face death. Yet there are many other themes, such as those that were emphasized beginning in Act 2 with the more complete introduction of the Desandra family. In this video, part 2, we are going to explore said themes and answer the question, what themes of family does Expedition 33 make clair, not obscure? The first theme explored by Expedition 33 related to family is that of a family being broken by tragedy. This theme is particularly highlighted by the death of Verso Desandra in the real world. This death breaks the Desandra family apart. Some netizens have suggested that the Desandra family are supposed to represent the Kubler-Ross model, the 5 stages of grief.
Grief is no excuse. We're all grieving.
In this interpretation, Aline would be denial due to her painting of the Canvas World family and clinging to her false reality, that painted Verso is real Verso. Clea would be anger since she is fighting a personal war of vengeance, angry at the writers for starting this war.
She took Verso's death very personally.
Angry at Alicia for her naivete, and angry at Verso himself for giving his life to save Alicia. Alicia then would be bargaining, attempting to trade a promise of returning to the real world for a little more time with painted Verso. Verso represents depression, someone who is in despair, depressed not because the real version of him is dead, but because he is not the real Verso and because his mother is dying. Finally, real Renoir seems to be the voice of reason, the one who fully understands the impacts of the tragedy and accepts that the real Verso is gone and that painted Verso is not real. Maëlle, when she remembers that she is Alicia, remarks that everyone in her family is gone in some way, that her family is broken. What makes the family tragedy even worse is that Alicia Maëlle is blamed by Clea, Aline, and herself for the death of Verso. Aline blames Alicia so much that she cannot bear to look at Alicia and is hinted at to have abused Alicia.
What about my face? Are you going to burn it again?
In the book of 2 Samuel, King David's family is destroyed by family tragedy when 2 of his sons commit evil acts. And her brother Absalom said to her, "Has Amnon your brother been with you? Now hold your peace, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this to heart." So Tamar lived, a desolate woman, in her brother Absalom's house. When King David heard of all these things, he was very angry. But Absalom spoke to Amnon neither good nor bad, for Absalom hated Amnon because he had violated his sister Tamar. While they were on the way, news came to David. Absalom has struck down all the king's sons, and not one of them is left. Then the king arose and tore his garments and lay on the earth. And all his servants who were standing by tore their garments. But Jonadab, the son of Shimea, David's brother, said, "Let not my lord suppose that they have killed all the young men, the king's sons, for Amnon alone is dead. For by the command of Absalom this has been determined from the day he violated his sister Tamar. Now therefore let not my lord the king so take it to heart as to suppose that all the king's sons are dead, for Amnon alone is dead." 2 Samuel chapter 13, verses 20 to 22 and verses 30 to 33. When one of David's sons, Amnon, rapes his half-sister Tamar, and Tamar's brother Absalom kills him in vengeance, this forever shatters the peace in his family. Like David's family, the death of Verso shatters the happy and loving Desandra family and brings them into conflict, which is our second theme for this video. The second theme about family that Expedition 33 explores is that of family conflicts instead of family loyalty. One way that this theme is developed is through Verso's slogan,
"Family is complicated."
This theme of family conflict is developed repeatedly with many exclamations of shock and outrage that one family member would raise a hand against another. Painted Renoir expresses anger and disappointment that Verso is fighting against him, his true father. Later, Verso and Maëlle, who doesn't know it at the time, fight Aline the paintress, who force her out of the canvas. Again, the paintress is surprised at their attack, thinking it is a trick.
Our parents are quite the stubborn pair. They're still fighting each other inside the canvas.
This is because Aline is in conflict with the real Renoir, and this is also declared by Renoir something that has been happening in the canvas for 67 years. Aline versus Renoir, paintress versus curator. After Verso and Maëlle defeat Aline, real Renoir appears to take Maëlle or real Alicia home, but she refuses to go. This in turn puts Expedition 33 in conflict with real Renoir, whom they eventually managed to defeat. But in the process of defeating Renoir, he successfully made his case to Verso, who was persuaded that Maëlle was not planning on returning home. As a result, this leads to the final conflict of the game, when Maëlle is forced to kill Verso to gain control of the canvas, or, in the ending I chose, the reverse, when Verso defeats Maëlle to expel her from the canvas. In the Bible, Jesus also mentions that families will be in conflict, although it is not because of tragedy, but because of loyalty to him. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth, for I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a person's enemies will be those of his own household. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Matthew chapter 10, verses 34 to 39. Just like the family conflicts Jesus describes, the Descendre family goes full force, with every member fighting every other member of the family, with the possible exception of Clair. Their conflict is not private, but it impacts others, which is connected to our third theme. Our third theme that Expedition 33 explores for today's video on family is that of family tragedy impacting others. While not focused on specifically, this theme is highlighted through key plot developments. This idea of the cycle of grief needing to be broken is visited throughout the game.
It's your family's cycle of grief.
With Verso reminding Maëlle that it is their family's tragedy and grief that has brought conflict and destruction into the canvas world. This damage includes the fracture, the breaking of the world, and the splitting of old and new Lumiere.
Before the fracture ripped apart the world and threw us into the sea.
This idea is also symbolized in the gommage number on the monolith. Year by year, real Renoir is erasing the canvas, while Aline, the paintress, can only paint the gommage number on the monolith to warn those soon to be affected. The Descendre family conflict is also represented in the Nevrons, who are created by Clair to hasten the erasure of the canvas.
You're trying to stop the wrong cycle.
In the Bible, the family conflict between David and Absalom also impacts the entire kingdom of Israel. And at the end of 4 years, Absalom said to the king, "Please let me go and pay my vow, which I vowed to the Lord in Hebron. For your servant vowed a vow while I lived at Geshur in Aram, saying, If the Lord will indeed bring me back to Jerusalem, then I will offer worship to the Lord." The king said to him, "Go in peace." So he arose and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent secret messengers throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then say, Absalom is king at Hebron." With Absalom went 200 men from Jerusalem who were invited guests, and they went in their innocence and knew nothing. And while Absalom was offering the sacrifices, he sent for Ahithophel the Gilonite, David's counselor, from his city Gilo. And the conspiracy grew strong, and the people with Absalom kept increasing. 2 Samuel chapter 15, verses 7 to 12. Then David mustered the men who were with him and set over them commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds. And David sent out the army, 1/3 under the command of Joab, 1/3 under the command of Abishai the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and 1/3 under the command of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said to the men, "I myself will also go out with you." But the men said, "You shall not go out, for if we flee, they will not care about us. If half of us die, they will not care about us. But you are worth 10,000 of us. Therefore it is better that you send us help from the city." The king said to them, "Whatever seems best to you, I will do." So the king stood at the side of the gate, while all the army marched out by hundreds and by thousands. And the king ordered Joab and Abishai and Ittai, "Deal gently for my sake with the young man Absalom." And all the people heard when the king gave orders to all the commanders about Absalom. 2 Samuel chapter 18, verses 1 to 5. Like how David's conflict with his son Absalom spreads to the entire nation of Israel, the Descendre family conflict consumes Lumiere, reshaping their entire world. These impacts force each of the family members to make difficult choices, which is connected to our last theme. Our last theme of family that Expedition 33 emphasizes for today's video is that of making difficult sacrifices to save family members. In my opinion, this theme is initially introduced in the conversation between Painted Renoir and Verso, that he is willing to lose Verso to save him, to lose his relationship with Verso if it will mean saving his life. This theme is later developed in real Renoir's quotation.
Life keeps forcing cruel choices.
It's not clear, but to me, this seems to be a reference to the novel Sophie's Choice, a choice between which child lives and which child dies when forced. The Sophie of Expedition 33 doesn't need to make that choice because she refuses to have children, but instead, members of the Dysandra family make this type of choice.
You can hate me, but that's a choice I must make.
If Aline and Alicia were willing to sacrifice or lose Painted Verso from their lives by leaving, they would save him and the canvas world. However, they are not willing, and that's actually the key point in the narrative. Both Aline and Alicia are unwilling to accept that the real Verso is already dead and hold on to Painted Verso, thus dooming themselves and the canvas world. As a result of their unwillingness to accept the truth and instead to live in denial in the painted fantasy world, Renoir has to decide between destroying the canvas world with the last bit of Verso's soul or allowing it to continue, which would destroy his wife and daughter. It's clear that he is willing to sacrifice the canvas because Verso is already dead, with him fighting for 67 years and fighting Expedition 33 to save his family.
We do what we must.
Yet, Alicia is stubborn and lies to her father, asking him to trust her when she has no intention of returning. This leads to Verso's ending, where he quotes Rio Renoir, that he is forced to make this cruel choice because Aline, Alicia, and Renoir are not strong enough to do so.
Life keeps forcing cruel choices.
So in the end, Verso chooses to sacrifice having his mother Aline in his life and to expel her to save her. Verso chooses to sacrifice having Maëlle in his life and expelling her from the canvas to save her.
Who do you really save with your sacrifice?
The game is also very clear about Minoko choosing to give up his own life and his relationship with Noko, knowing what will happen for Verso's family members.
For Verso. And for you.
Verso, Minoko, and quite possibly Esquier all choose to sacrifice their existences and the existence of everyone in the canvas world to save the mother and sister of the original Verso. In the book of Matthew, Jesus talks about making difficult and sacrificial decisions to save your life. Woe to the world for temptations to sin, for it is necessary that temptations come, but woe to the one by whom the temptation comes. And if your hand or your foot causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life crippled or lame than with 2 hands or 2 feet to be thrown into the eternal fire. And if your eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It is better for you to enter life with 1 eye than with 2 eyes to be thrown into the hell of fire. Matthew chapter 18, verses 7 to 9. In this passage, Jesus uses some exaggerated and extreme language to describe how sometimes we must make difficult and sacrificial choices in order to save ourselves. And like Jesus describes, Renoir tries and fails. But Verso and Minoko make the difficult, cruel, sacrificial choices to save Aline and Alicia. Clair, Obscur, Expedition 33 is a game that really makes you care about its characters and their lives. The powerful characterization, combined with its literary devices, reinforce many of the themes the game wants to convey. In the first video, part 1, we looked at many themes related to death and how to face it. In this video, part 2, we took a look at how the game develops themes like family tragedy, family conflict, the impacts those conflicts can have, and making difficult choices to save family. In the next video, part 3, we'll explore themes related to the world of Lumière. That's all I have for you in this video. Bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If this video blessed you in some way, please consider watching some of my other videos, subscribing, or sharing with me some of your thoughts in the comments below.